I love living in Portugal now because when I came here, I discovered that there's fruit trees everywhere. And you can walk down the street and you can walk through a farm, you can walk through a garden, you can walk through a forest very often and be collecting madroño and collecting chestnuts and acorns and eating food directly from the land, which is one of my absolute favorite things to do. And I grew up in the Northeast of the United States in Massachusetts, and there we have incredible forests with a lot of diversity. We have a lot of maples and oaks and pines and conifers of all different kinds that change colors. The broadleaf trees do in the fall. And one thing I really started missing a lot in living in Portugal and being in the forests here is that I noticed often they're, especially in the south here, quite dry. There's not as much biodiversity as I was used to. There's not as much variation in species and kinds, but there's fruit and there's food, and it's pretty much growing all year round. And so what I've now discovered and what I would love to share with you today is how to create a food forest. My name's Joshua, and today I would love to share with you what I've learned about how to create a food forest. So I began learning all of this a few years ago, and I've had the incredible opportunity to be living in a place here in Alentejo, Portugal, where we're actually creating and working with a food forest daily. And I'm here on this montado land, which is mostly oak, holm oak and cork oak trees. And these are the ones that give these acorns that you might be familiar with. And the undergrowth and the ground cover here is a lot of grasses and thistles and low-growing things like nettles as well, mallow. And what we're doing here in creating a food forest and working with nature to do so is looking to the more wild places that are in this bioregion and learning from that and learning, well, when there is more diversity in a forest, what is it that is actually filling in all of the layers? So you have your canopy, which is the top layer, the tallest layer that gives the most shade to all of the other understory, all of the other trees and the ground cover. And beneath that, there are 6 more layers. And so this is something that I would love to share with you about, is how to work with those layers of a forest and mimic what is naturally occurring in nature to actually speed up the process with our human input and our human intelligence to work with the soil and bring in a much more healthy biome and bacteria and fungi and good health to the soil in the similar way as we would with our own bodies, our own guts, as well as how to choose the right species for a specific climate. Right here, in Alentejo, Portugal, we're in quite a dry climate. We're often working with drought-resistant plants and species and trees because for a lot of the year, it doesn't rain at all. A naturally occurring healthy forest is very diverse with many species of trees and ground cover and mushrooms and fungi and tons of bacteria growing in the soil and bushes and shrubs and fruit and berries and nuts and seeds. And all of these things we want to bring into our thriving food forest in a way that is going to provide for whoever you're growing food for, yourself, your family, your community, your neighborhood, and even the creatures and animals that live in your area. So with that, let's dive into the details and learn how to create a food forest.